So I've been dying to bounce this off of somebody. And as soon as I thought of this topic, I thought I got to get Kristen on the horn.
Oh boy.
And
And
we've
you
got,
haven't told me what the topic is, so
I
this
have
could go
not,
any way. I
I
mean,
have not told you the topic.
I could embarrass myself horribly.
No, you're so smart. You are. You're very wise. You're not, see, there's a difference between smart and wise, and very few people have both. And you, my friend, you have both. You're smart, you're intelligent, and you're wise. You have great,
Oh, okay, no pressure. Let's do
no
it.
pressure. All right. So, so I'm listening to a podcast. I think it's called Business Movers, something like that, right? And there's like 50 different seasons, so to speak. Each season has 4 to 6 episodes, something like that, and they take a deep dive into something. And the one they took a deep dive in that I listened to yesterday was the Coca-Cola Wars.
Ooh,
Now,
okay.
you probably don't remember the Coca-Cola Wars like I do because I've got some years on you. And but back in the mid 80s, actually it went to like late 70s to mid 80s. Pepsi and Coca-Cola took the gloves off and they were having at it. I mean, it was just brutal advertising. And Coca-Cola was just spanking everybody, Pepsi included, until like the early 80s and Pepsi started biting. Like they started catching up and Coca-Cola was sweating. So Pepsi did this thing. The one thing in advertising that people never do is like Ford never says Mazda sucks. Like,
Oh yeah, that's the kiss of death.
yeah, you just
Yeah,
don't do that, right? Or like Ford is so much better than Chevrolet. Chevrolet just is horrible and we're awesome. Like you just don't do that, right?
yeah.
Well, until then. And Pepsi came out with what they called the Pepsi Challenge, and they did a taste test all around the country. And they had blind taste test of Pepsi versus Coke, and and they published the report. Pepsi won. People preferred the taste of Pepsi.
Huh.
And Coca-Cola heard this, and they were having a fit. They were saying it can't be real. It's got to be fake tests. So they conducted their own blind taste test, and Pepsi won. And
That
Coca-Cola,
surprises me. I'm a Coke girl. How
yeah,
about you?
me too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And um, and Coca-Cola went, holy cow, Pepsi's better, and they are. It's better. So then Coke said, all right, it's not the marketing, it's the product.
Oh wait, is this when New Coke came out? Because I do remember this.
That's right.
Uh,
So then New Coke came out. Well, when they tested the new Coke before they released it, fascinating pot. You have to listen to it. It was fascinating. It really was. A lot of great lessons in it. Well, when Coke was developing the new flavor, I mean, they were getting spanked because the other product was better. Like it
yeah.
was. It was better. It won the taste test. And so Coke said, well, we need a better product, so we got to change our flavor. And so for the first time in 99 years, they changed the taste. And when they tested it, new Coke won on blind taste test. It was better. It beat, and I'll mess up the numbers a little bit, but you'll get the gist of it.
Okay.
It beat old classic Coke. Like they did a three-way test, and new Coke beat classic Coke on a blind test, and it beat Pepsi. And if I remember right, it took a 12% bump up. The people preferred the new flavor. 12 more people out of 100 said, "Yeah, we like the new better." Right? So an extra they got a 12% bump in people liking it, right? Which is a big bump, right? Because it was like 48-52, and when they did it, it was like 60 or 55-45. So pretty good bump. Anyway, and 55-45 equals 12. So I'm just my my
Yeah.
my mathematical geniusness shows out here. But anyway, you get the idea. Is New Coke won hands down on blind taste test? So they released it. Well, we all know what happened, or those of us old enough to remember know what happened.
It was gross. I hated it.
People
Tanked.
went nuts.
Yep.
There was an organization that started. There was something like, bring classic Coke or bring real Coke back that had like millions of people in it, which they talk about in this podcast too. Bring my old Coca-Cola back. And then Coke famously got the owner of that Bring Coke Back, the leader of that organization. They did a blind taste test with him. He preferred new Coke when it was blind tasted, but he
Oh my
said,
gosh.
"I still don't want it. I still want my old Coke back." And so Humberto, who was the CEO of Coca-Cola at the time, which by the way is a fascinating story. So this guy came from Cuba with literally $200 in his pocket, and fast forward, uh, he was the CEO of Coca-Cola, right? An immigrant from Cuba. Fascinating story. Anyway, so he said, "Mister, I prefer Coke leader. You just did the taste test, and you like new Coke better." And he said, "I don't care. I still want the old one back." And so Coca-Cola was like, "Oh, wait a minute.
What do I do here?
What do I do? Pepsi's starting to bite into us because it tastes better. We now taste better than Pepsi and old Coke, and you want the old Coke, the number that won third place in this three last place. You want it back. Why?" And they opened up a phone database where these operators are answering the I'm pissed off at Coca-Cola right now phone calls, right? Coke opened it up. They had hundreds and hundreds of operators that were taking all these just millions of phone calls coming in. And it was all stories like, but this is what I sat on the front porch with my grandma.
Mm.
This was what when me and dad would go fishing, this is what we would drink.
Oh, it's like
And
you with your cherry, what's it called?
your cheerwine.
Cheer wine. There we go.
Cheerwine, yeah, which is a soda
Mhm.
that every Sunday my mother and father took us to this little country store, and which is a very special thing. We each got our own special. We didn't have to share. I grew up poor, right? Great
Mhm.
parents loved me. We were not uh, we were not poor in love, but we were poor in money, right? And we always had to share. If you ever got a Coke, it was or Pepsi. It was a special, but you always had to share it with the three of us boys shared one Pepsi, and I was the youngest one, so you know how that worked, right?
I know how that worked
So
out.
yeah.
Yes.
So Sunday was special though. We would get our own bottle of Cheerwine, which is a soda made up in the Carolinas, which is where this was, made up in Salisbury, North Carolina. It had cherry. It was the first cherry flavored Coke, and it was called Cheerwine. Anyway, which to this day I have very fond memories of. I got a an old metal thermometer out on my bait shack out here by the lake. It's Cheerwine one, right? I found one. It's like 60 years old, 70 years old. Anyway, but yes, it was stories like that,
Stories like that. Yeah.
stories like that. And because I would drive up to North Carolina, buy a couple cases of that drink. This is in recent years, before they started shipping down here, bring it back down here, and I couldn't tell the difference between that and cherry Coke. But that's not what me and Dad sat on the front porch with, so to speak. And so I've been thinking about that. I thought, all right, there's a huge message here. I'm just not sure what it is. Like,
Emotional ties to things. I'll tell you what.
so you know what I came up with is culture eats product for lunch.
Mm.
That culture is more important, obviously, in this case, is more important than product. That product, even though it was third place, they were screaming to have it back because that was apple pie, that was baseball, that was the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Yankees. This was America's drink. And don't be screwing with America's drink. We might be screwed up, but don't mess with us.
Oh,
You
people
know,
will remember how you made them feel above
yeah.
all else.
And so that's what I've been I heard that I listened to that episode about 2 days ago, and that has just been on my mind is like, so how can we use culture as an attractant because apparently it's more important than product. I'm not saying, look, if you open up Coke and it tastes like a dog turd, obviously you got a problem, right? So I'm not saying you can have a crap product.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is you don't have to have the best product. You don't have the best because they had the third best, or in this case, last place. Uh, but it wasn't 5% last place. It was 48% last place, right? It was close. But that culture is what bumped it up. And by the way, right before we recorded this, I asked, I went on ChatGPT and said, "What's the market share now?" And Coke is way ahead in first place. You know who second place is, and it's not Pepsi.
Oh, okay. Wait, let me think. I'm a Dr. Pepper fan, so I'm wondering if it's Dr. Pepper.
I love you, Kristen. You're just see, it just goes. I would have never have guessed that.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
because in the podcast, or when I did this thing, I said, "Don't tell me the order, tell me the three."
Mm,
And it popped up the three: Pepsi, Coke, and Dr. Pepper. I went, well, I know it's not Dr. So it's got to be Coke, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, and no, Dr. Pepper is substantially higher than Pepsi. Now, it's not the entire Pepsi brand; it's
hmm.
Pepsi the drink and
Yeah.
Coke the drink. Coke owns. So get this: the average American, it's fascinating stuff. The average American drinks 408 Coca-Cola products a year.
You know what? Okay, so man, we could do a deep dive into this though. But one of my secret shames, I love soda. I do. I very rarely have it. Won't let myself have it, but I love soda. And when I drink soda, I don't drink diet. Just give me the high test. You know what I
Give
mean?
me, give me the real thing.
But you know what would be interesting to find out is how much of that is sold at McDonald's because I swear there is a huge difference between a Coke out of a can and when you go to McDonald's and you get, I refer to it as a crispy Coke at McDonald's out of like the fountain soda.
You think it's got more carbonated water, maybe?
I heard that they have their own formulation from Coke.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know back to Cheerwine. If you buy Cheerwine in the bottle versus the can, it's a different sweetener. So the can
Ah,
uses corn syrup, right, which is not good for you. The bottle is cane sugar from sugar cane. So it's a different plant entirely. I have no idea why that is, but the
yeah.
bottle is a different formula than what the can is. So
So
interesting.
interesting. But you mentioned culture, and man, it is so funny that you just mentioned that because I told you I would be here in a minute, but I was talking to Kevin Gillespie, who runs our
Yeah.
Leadership Academy, and he's working on right now within leadership these 6 different systems that if you build them, that's the attraction magnet, and one of the systems is culture.
Yeah.
And I think people throw that word around like our culture this or it becomes very generic, but it's a very real thing if you can lean into it.
Hey there. Hey, if you're loving the tips so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button right down there and then tap the little bell so that you never miss out on more free, cool tips coming your way. Also, I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment beneath there. Let me know what you think or tell me what you'd like to hear next. So I was thinking, all right, if culture beats product, again, we got to have a great product.
Of course, yeah.
It doesn't have to be the best product.
Hmm.
It's got to be good. It's got to be, let's say, even great, but it doesn't have to be the best, right? The culture does, though. And so I was thinking, all right, so old Coke represents nostalgia, family
Hmm.
cookouts, ball games, decades of branding, right? Where people they're not just buying a soda, like they felt like they lost part of their history.
Hmm.
And so, how do we get that same emotional connection with what we're doing? Um, and even if objectively the new Coke tastes better, the emotional bond won out. So how can we have that? And I came up with a couple of things. So I came up with I've always thought it's really, really, really important. Look, we're in a stiff, what I call a stiff white shirt career here. We sell money, right?
Hmm.
And people think of us as bankers and the money guys and Wall Street, and that's kind of how they look at us.
Yeah.
CPAs. That's kind of how they look at us. And it's probably at some level it might to them be a little intimidating. They don't want to look stupid. They don't want to look poor. They don't want to look desperate. So for me, I've always thought it's important to that one of my main messages, I'm a real person just like you.
Hmm.
I'm a real person just like you. And I think it's really important in our marketing that we don't poise ourselves to be this super smart, not that we poise ourselves to be stupid, but or it's the wrong word. Let's call it super sophisticated. That I'm a high sophisticated, drink with my pinky out, my tea with my pinky out, and I'm surrounded by bar graphs and charts all day long. I try to separate myself at some level on that and more about I'm a real person just like you. And I think that's a real important marketing message. And I think it's also important to at times to show where we've screwed up. Like I used to think this wrong, but then I found out this right. And I think it's okay to show our vulnerabilities and our mistakes. And boy, I remember one time I really screwed this up. I do. I think it's again, not that we're going to look like a buffoon, or they're going, or we're putting on our Dumb and Dumber hat and trying to play Jim Carrey in that brilliantly scripted movie. So I'm not saying to make ourselves look stupid, just I think making ourselves look human, I think is
Hmm.
a big part. So
Yeah, put yourself on the same side of the table.
yes. Yeah. Which by
Yeah.
the way, anytime you meet with somebody in your office, you should never sit on one side of the table versus the other. So anytime anybody would come in my office and it was a face-to-face meeting, that I would always bring my chair around to the corner. And
Hmm.
it'd be weird if you came in my office, Krista, and I came sat right beside you.
Feel like I'm in trouble.
Yeah, that's a little
Like if
weird.
you sit right in front of me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little weird.
Yeah.
But if I always had two chairs in my office, one behind the desk and one, and well, I guess three, or I guess if I'm meeting a couple, four. I'd have
Right,
one
right.
behind my desk with the two on the other side, and then I have one on the corner, and then one or two on the other on the back. Let's call it the back stretch. And so when you'd walk my office, I'd walk up, shake your hand, and I'd sit back down in my corner, so I'm sitting not dead beside you, but not adversarially across from you. I don't know. That should what that had nothing to do with what we're talking about today. But and then I thought, well, for our branch managers that's listening,
Hmm.
or the loan officers that's listening, that's looking for culture, I think it's important that what are the things, what is the culture that we're looking for there?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is, I think it's really important that like the loan officers in our branch, like when like hypothetically you're a loan officer in my branch, and then you just had a great month. I've seen a lot of places where, well, Kristen, how'd you do it? Well, I ain't telling you because then you might get first place, right?
Hmm.
And I understand that, right? There's nothing. It's kind of like Coca-Cola protecting their recipe, I suppose. I just don't think it's a good culture. And so for us, we've always thought it really important that if Kristen's having a great month, Chris, or great quarter, or great year, or great 5 years, Kristen, how'd you do it? And then she says, well, here's the mailer I sent out, and here's the email that I sent out, and here's the video that I sent out, and here's the chart that I showed, and here's the script that I use. Here's the funnel that I use. Here's the Facebook ad that I use. Here's the, like, whatever that thing is, like, map it out for everybody. And then when you see Bob, up and coming, and even biting at your heels, you're not threatened by that. You celebrate it because you know that Bob's going to push you even higher too, right? And I think it's real important to have that camaraderie, which is what the Mortgage Marketing Animals is based on, right? That's how we came into existence. Is everybody
Yes.
just, yeah? It's not the old thing where, do
A
you know the
rising tide raises all ships.
yes,
Hmm.
yes, and it makes us all better. It's just like in NASCAR when you have two cars running nose to tail, the car in second place is pulled faster by the first car because they're I can say breaking wind, but they're breaking the wind, right? And then the first car, or the second car, is actually pushing the first car to go even faster. So together they run faster. And I think that's true in this case too. For our branch managers, I would also say, or for the loan officers too, I've always thought it's important that, hey, can I talk to the owner? I want
Oh, absolutely.
I want to talk to, hey, on this case, hey, Kristen, I appreciate your answer. I'm just going to say it in my case. I'd like to talk to Owen about this.
Mhm,
Owen's going to get on the phone with me,
mhm,
right? And I love that man. I do. I just love that man. He's very busy man. He's not only does he run our company, but he's vice chair for the NBA and going to be president of the NBA in the succession that they do. But yet, when we have somebody that they want to level up on the response to it, that's okay.
mhm,
Allison, president of the company, get her on the, hey, Allison, we got a problem here and we don't seem to be able to solve it. All right, what you got? And then the person that was my immediate manager, when I say, hey, I want to talk to Allison about it, they come with me. Well, yeah, let's get this ironed out. I did all I can do. Let's see what Allison can do. And so I think that can I talk to owner, uh, celebrate my wins with me,
mhm,
not against me, and thirdly, know who I am. I love it when somebody asks me, "Hey, Carl, how's Maria doing?"
mhm.
Hey, Carl, how's your new how's Charlie, your new grandson, doing? And I think that's a big deal. I
Oh,
do.
I couldn't agree more.
Now, and when you get to be a big company, they lose that part, and which is why I've never been a part of a big company. Now, obviously, the big companies are doing something right because they're big, right? I'm not taking away from it. And I'm not going to name any companies because I admire those companies, but in a different way, right?
I
In a
get it.
different way. But I've always liked being like with I always wanted the company I'm with, I want them big enough to be able to weather the storms, but small enough that the owner knows my grandkid's name,
Mhm,
or at least my name, or my wife's name. I don't know why. I'm an old Southern boy, and the old Southern charm, Southern gentleman kind of thing. It's just the way we do things around here. And so
mhm.
I don't know. Any thoughts about that stuff?
No, I agree. It's about being a human being, not a number.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think the same thing for for us when we're doing our real estate agents and
Yeah.
calling our past database, keeping notes on that stuff. Now, if I meet with so Chris, if you're a realtor and I meet with you, I'm not bringing my notepad, right? Because that's like I always thought people ask, do I take notes, Carl? And which is a good question, right? I understand that question. It's like, well, if you're going on a date, would you take notes? No. So I always kind of look at business relationships or like referral partners. It's kind of like a dating type. I don't know. That's the way I think about it. It's like a dating relationship, kind of sort of where or friendship, right? If I go talk to a friend, like Kristen, if you guys were to come over for the Super Bowl and we're sitting around Super Bowl, I'm not going to take notes of our conversation, right? So you just don't do that with buddies. And so, however, as soon as I get back out in my car, I hit the recorder and I say, okay, we talked about this, and her husband's that, and her daughter's this, and going to college that, and last summer they went there, and I take little notes to it, and I put it in my CRM. So on our next conversation, I just breeze through it real quick. Oh yeah. Okay, I remember this story. And then how's college going for your girl? And so I don't know. I always think that was so. I think that's kind of what I got out of that the Coca-Cola's Wars thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Hey, I got a question. So when do you remember the Pepsi challenge? Were you around when they did
I
that?
don't necessarily remember the Pepsi challenge, but I do remember the new Coke thing.
Yeah.
And I remember Pepsi then changed their can. It was like a
Yeah.
whole
Uh-huh.
thing. They had that supermodel on the commercial. I can't
Yeah.
remember her name.
And,
You know,
and they also what Pepsi had Michael Jackson.
oh yeah.
He
Oh
was a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
spokesperson,
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I never liked it when they took the gloves off and they're
Mhm.
punching at each other. Tell me why you're better, not why they suck. I don't know. I just like if Ford started talking about Chevrolet or Chevrolet started talking about Ford, I'd kind of lose my respect for them a little bit. And it's like, don't downplay. It's like in politics. So and
Yeah.
so is a crook. Instead of, hey, I'm amazing and here's what I'm going to do for you. Let me talk about all the problems that Bob's a bad dude and let me list his bad things. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh no, I couldn't agree more. It's a tough, it's especially with agents. If you go in there trying to talk about how you're better than who they're currently working with, you're going to put people right on the defensive. But if you go in there showing them how you're different, asking them what they need, what their problems are, that's a whole different conversation.
Mhm. Hmm. Interesting topic. I don't
Mm,
think there's not a real go do this message on here. Just be cool. Just be cool. Be nice. Be pleasant. Be cool. Care about other people.
authentically care. Yeah,
Authentically care. Yeah, like it goes back to old Zig Ziglar. Go help enough people with what they want, and you'll get what you want, right? You don't
mm,
have to, it's not about me, 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 me. However, I benefit when you benefit.
right.
And I don't know. I really enjoyed that. The Coca-Cola Wars. I thought that was
Sounds like a
interesting.
great podcast.
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up. I don't know. I was sitting here thinking about it. I said, I want to talk about this with somebody and kind of anything else you would add to that, like any on the
No, not
culture
at
thing.
all. I think it was perfect. Not at
Okay.
all. I remember watching Mad Men. Did you ever watch that show?
What's it called?
Mad Men. It was
Oh,
about
I
like,
did. I did.
yeah, the
Fantastic.
advertising. They did a whole episode on the I'd like to buy the world of Coke thing, but I think that was prior to all of this.
Yeah, I think that show was set like I think in the late
60s?
60s, if I
Like,
remember
yeah,
right. Yeah. Fantastic show. Great
loved that
acting.
show. Mhm.
Great acting. The lead guy, I can't think of what his name is, but just
And either. He
he's
was so good.
fantastic. Yeah.
Dan Draper was his name on the show, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Fantastic actor.
Yep,
I can take a bad story, just give me good acting. Just give me good acting. So, yeah.
absolutely.
But it can be a great story, bad acting, I'm out. I love good acting. So, but
Wonderful.
yeah, so yeah, like sit down and write like what attracts you to a company
Mhm.
and then be that person, be that thing, be that entity. Again, not taking away from product, but make sure you're not ignoring culture. And culture really is brand, and all brand is when your name comes up, what's the image that comes in their mind?
Mhm.
What's a first as soon as they say your name, other than your mental picture of what you look like, what's what who are you to those people? What do you stand for? And it's a big deal. Yeah, big deal. So, all right, my friend, I appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, Carl. Have a great rest
Okay,
of your
all
day.
right, bye bye.